Hello, great people. Welcome back to Global Happenings. Today, we're so excited to have you again. Today was quite an interesting day in the presidential election petition court, where there was a huge exposition about the presidential election result, which was not being uploaded on Bvas, and also some of the cases that we have heard from INEC considering the non-availability of the data for presidential election result. Right now, one of those who had been at the forefront of this presidential election petition court, talking about Atiku Abubakar, brought in a witness who took out time to explain to Nigerians what actually happened with the results in Bvas. It's quite an interesting one, I must say. And according to the news, a digital forensic expert, Mr. Hitler Mwala, on Thursday narrated before the Presidential Election Petition Court (PEPC) sitting in Abuja how he uncovered that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) wiped off results of the presidential election that held on February 25th. Mr. Nwala mounted the box as the 25th witness of the candidate of the People Democratic Party (PDP) and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is challenging the declaration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC) as winner of the presidential election. Testifying before the Justice Haruna Samani-led five-man panel, the witness deleted alleged that the results that were deleted were contained in the bimodal voters accreditation system (Bvas) machine that were deployed for the conduct of the election. Atiku and his party had insisted that data from the Bvas machine, which were used for the accreditation of voters and uploading of polling unit results, would establish the allegation that the presidential election was rigged in Tinubu's favor. Meanwhile, laid in evidence by lead counsel for the petitioner, Chief Chris Uche, senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Nwala, said he was summoned through a subpoena to appear as a witness in the case. He told the court that he specifically inspected and conducted forensic analysis on 110 beavers that were deployed for the conduct of the presidential election in the Federal Capital Territory (FCT), Abuja. According to him, upon his inquiries, the electoral body maintained that it has to wipe off the information in the Bvas to be able to redeploy them for the governorship and state house of assembly election that held on March 18. However, during cross-examination of the witness, counsel to INEC, Mr. Abubakar Mahmood, senior advocate of Nigeria, faulted reports of the witness, stressing that 110 Bvas devices used for the election was not sufficient to establish that there was any irregularities on the part of the commission. Mahmoud, senior advocate of Nigeria, while contending that the sample size the witness relied on to write his report was small, noted that a total of 3,263 Bvas devices were deployed during the presidential election. He argued that the sample the witness based his report on represented only about 3.5% of the total device the INEC deployed in FCT and 0.06% of the total Bvas that was used for the presidential election across the country. It will be recalled that INEC had disclosed that it needed to reconfigure all the BVA's machines that were used for the presidential poll so as to be able to use them for the next rounds of election. On their part, both President Tinubu, whose legal team was led by Chief Wole Olanipekun, senior advocate of Nigeria, and APC legal team led by Prince Lateef Fagbemi, senior advocate of Nigeria, urged the court to reject the report of the witness which they said was laced with manifest errors. Nonetheless, the petitioner counsel, Uche, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, described the evidence of the witness as very vital to the case of his client, considering that it was the first that we had a technologically driven election in this country. Shortly after the witness was discharged by the court, the petitioner tendered from the bar bundles of certified copies of INEC Form ECBA from 20 local government area in Ogun State. The documents were tendered through member of Atiku's legal team, Mr. Eyitayo Legede, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, equally tendered in evidence by the petitioners were certified copies of polling unit results from ECBA series from 17 local government in Ondo State, 27 local government in Jigawa, as well as from 20 local government in Rivers State. INEC opposed the admissibility of the document in evidence, saying it will give its reason in its final written address. Likewise, the other respondent, President Tinubu, and the APC equally raised objection to the admittance of the electoral document in evidence. Despite the objection, the Justice Samani panel accepted the document in evidence and marked them as exhibit in the matter. The court subsequently adjourned its proceeding till Friday to enable the petitioner to close their case, after which the respondents will open their defense. Wow, this is quite interesting, I must say. And whether they like it or yes, for me, that evidence that was rolled out against INEC in the FCT goes an extra mile to tell what actually happened with the data that was in the BVA. Don't forget that there was a lot of stories surrounding, the uploaded results and, the issue of reconfiguring and serving the data of a presidential election and the Senate House of Representative and Senate election results at the back end. But all of a sudden, none of it seems to suffice. But I believe this vital info that this forensic expert had released to the court will be used rightly. And I think no matter the reasons given, because according to them, they said it's not enough to establish the fact that there was some fraudulent acts there INEC did against its law. But however, it's already been accepted by the justices, and we are hopeful that it will go an extra mile, to give us what we want, especially when it comes to, the verdict of the appeal court. That's where we like to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let's interact. What's your position on all